I am Couch Cooper, and what is this? A PSVR game in, 720? Yeah, it's Rigs Mechanized League. Very well demonstrates my point about this list is that no motorsport, roller skating, or skateboarding. This is down the middle versus as sports as I could get it without going near that FIFA stuff. Riggs was from Guerrilla Games. They had this Guerrilla Cambridge office. They head up in Amsterdam. I actually went for a position with them many moons ago, but my point being, they've shut down a lot of their studios and this whole IP has just disappeared, but it was really off the wall.
Hang on to your seats, folks. The action is far from over.
It was a crazy time. I lived in Dubai. They sort of partnered with the municipality for a lot of the branding. And I was like, my God, this is the way forward, because you were aiming with your head. Was it any good? No, it ran like crap and made me feel sick. Shall we get on with the list? We're starting strong with Dodgeball Academia, which is available on Game Pass, Switch, just about most of the platforms. It's a very crazy one. You'll be controlling more than one character, all simultaneously moving around. It's supposed to be painted as like a Pokemon meets like a PvP sports game in a dodgeball arena, and it does none of them really that well, but it is funny to see the attempts and unlock a lot. This has got a half-decent campaign, to be fair. And that's where that Pokemon reference comes from. And on the single player, you start unlocking characters that have got different abilities, putting a team together. It's really cool on that aspect. The local co-op is a bit tack-on-y, and a lot of the stuff is locked, so beware of that. But if you've got Game Pass, or you see this cheap on Switch, it's totally worth the look, because it is quite funny on a PvP level. It does have a really cool button mash sort of battle mechanic on it when the ball comes into dispute, and having that high grass, mucking around with the variables, which are quite predominant in that local PvP mode, is totally fun, and that's all we can wish for with a game like this. Okay, so there's quite a few golf games out there. It is a genre that is heavily featured in the local PvP section of gaming. It goes right back to having it on a Game Boy, I seem to remember. Looking at a game called Golf with Your Friends, which is a relatively recent addition, and it is exciting with its map layout. You can choose like underwater really crazy little golf courses that you would never see in the real world. Like, it's outlandish, some of the tricks and obstacles that you've got to get yourself through. I've got a favourite under the name of Party Golf, which I found that is doubled up with a really good like neon split screen racer with loads of retro modes. I'll put a link in the description. But the angle of Party Golf is that you are all doing something simultaneously. You heard me mention that turn-based system before. That can be damn boring in a golf game. If there's 4 of you, it's like, no thanks. But with this wonderful local co-op, absolutely stellar. Everything's going on all the time, all at once. And it's a very simple arc system and a tap of the X button. Got a pretty epic soundtrack, to be fair, and that sort of N++ clean look to the graphics. Just the fact that you can change up your little ball to a banana shape, and the maps are extensive, offering loads of huge, outlandish, crazy places that you've got to get to. You're also timed on certain turns, so it can be winner stays on, people get knocked off really quickly. For me, this is one of the pinnacles of how to have a cool party golf game, as the name suggests. Having it bundled in with all that driving material as well makes this little indie package a must purchase. Plus those bananas, all manner of innuendo to be sniggered about. Okay, Laser League. We're up in the depth now. This is where tactics and brainwork start coming in. This one's 1 to 4 local co-op and PvP, and having sort of 2 local players fighting the AI. That was one of my preferred areas of it because it's extremely interesting with its gameplay model. Essentially, it's a deathmatch. There is no ball. You've just got to get rid of the other players, and you do this by spawning in these turning wheels that correspond to the colour of your team. The more you set up on the nodes, the more power you have within the pitch itself, and it's got a wrap around screen, so you're going on and off the map all the time. It's quite difficult to get your head round first couple of playthroughs, but once that penny drops, it becomes fluid, and there's a build and class system. That's super important because each of the little players has a move, like a charge or a swipe. One might be really speedy. It's obviously trying to create that, use a particular player as a solution for a particular situation, and that's damn cool. It really makes you start thinking about choosing who you're going to take out, especially if you're going PvP with your teammate. The secrecy is really full on, and it gets very hectic very fast. There's also drops going off everywhere, stuff that can stun the other players, completely turn the game around really quickly. It's got excellent little slow-mo replays showing you bashing and smashing the other players out of the game. And if you were lucky enough, you might have actually selected it for a download on the PSN in your library about 5 to 6 years ago. It was free, so hop on over and check that one out. Okay, it's Windjammers 2. We are getting into the realms of hardcore arcade action. This has got flashy graphics, character selection, a locked arena with like a tennis system, but there's rebounds, anime flashy moves. The whole game is completely epic and so much fun on a PvP level. Very easy to use button system, and each character having like a sort of Street Fighter style special, giving that frisbee loads of speed or smashing it all around the court. You will laugh with this one. It goes back to that sort of button bashing arcade classics that we saw back in the day, but it's got this beautiful modern lick of paint. It feels cool. Don't get it confused with Disc Jam, which is horrendous. 3 points. Is there any incentive to play this on your own without a PvP mode in? Not really. This is kind of one where the mate's over, and it is only 1v1 also. I think they missed the trick with having 2 people on the same team and fight an AI, but this is all about just that battle mode, going straight at it, seeing you can get their own points, so you can come up with the flashiest finishes. Windjammers 2 is definitely the way forward.
Here we go.
What on earth? This isn't local co-op. Yes, it is. It's Hot Seat, Blood Bowl 2, and apparently Blood Bowl 3 has been out on early release. Angry Joe got really upset with it. It's full of microtransactions. This might be the last sweet spot for the Blood Bowl series. It's out on Steam, and I got it very cheap about a year ago. I have not looked back. That gnome lawnmower, look at the greatness. I think that's my issue with football games in general, is they're just so bolted to reality. There is no fantasy or release or sorcery or spells, bullets, dragons, nothing. And when you look at Blood Bowl 2, you've kind of nearly got all of those aforementioned in it. You've even got time slowed down, every player's stats and characteristics, right down to the race that you choose to play as. There's almost a militant amount of tactical decisions you have to make in this game. This is just like a turn-based strategy, war game, or anything else, but the epic side of it is that you're playing a huge game of the most violent American football / rugby system you've ever had the fortune to clap your eyes on it. It isn't going to be for everybody, and if you do know your Warhammer lore, then you're going to be right at home here. It's definitely got a lot of references to that subject matter in a really good way though, playing as Chaos or even Skaven. It's great seeing the angles on all the star players and some of the brutal moves that come out on pitch.
And this is a touchdown!
Yes, it is Pyre from Supergiant, the only PvP sports game they ever made, and I am stretching the brief including this. It is barely a sports game. It's more like a fantasy versus character clash simulator. It's excellent though, and you have control of everybody in real time. Sticking with that depth point made earlier, this is the one that offers you the most amount of character variety, with some of them being quite literally big lumbering ogres or sort of flying birds and creatures, right down to tiny little insect-like drones. It's very cool how much you can put together with your build prior to starting the game. And this is the excellent bit, is that the single player campaign is totally stellar and really worth looking into alongside this awesome bolted on PvP mode.
The dissident's Pyre is the first to falter.
What's happening on screen is that one team's trying to get the ball into the Pyre at the other end of the other team's area, and you can wander in or out. There's no offside, there's no out of pitch, and you can actually knock people out by using one of your more than one specials. Some characters have a quick move special, others have a projectile wave that goes out to block off enemies. Very cool stuff with this. I cannot stress enough. If you're remotely a fan of Supergiant, you've played Hades, you like that voiceover, the character development, then this single player campaign is going to have you very happy. This is just a promo for Couch Coop Classics. Unbelievable, but Speedball 2 is the best sports game. Its take on the genre, its future setting, its violence, for the time, its graphics, the way it ran, it was a jaw-dropper. I loved it as a younger gamer, and it really broke the mold for me, and I never looked back with sports games and how mundane kicking a piece of leather around a grass pitch could be compared to Speedball 2. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Chaos Cooper. We'll leave you with some footage of the Amiga CD version, which is kind of the mecca for the version of this game. Do not go near its modern fruitions. Oh well, see you there.